footage. We may not see more, but I haven't even I've heard there are horrific pictures online as well, and I don't want to see them right now. It's not the right time.
I have seen them by no choice of mine. You'll be watching a video, and the next thing you know, there it is. Or you're scrolling, and it pops up, and it's far too late. They're horrific. They're graphic. They're inappropriate. They're not necessary to see. These men have passed. You know that. That's enough. Don't search for them. And if you're at all of weak stomach, definitely don't look for them. The relationship between Anthony Joshua, Cena, and Latif, I believe we both would say they were close friends. Both of these men, though, did have jobs in the camp. They weren't just close friends, but I think even as evidence that they were riding in the vehicle with him as opposed to the vehicle behind him with the bodyguards and such would demonstrate that they were also more than just team members, but close personal friends. And so because Joshua is in fact Anthony Joshua, former unified two-time heavyweight champion, and the future in 2026 certainly is in question, and the prospect of what he might do is on the top of everybody's mind just 48 hours ago. I don't think it's inappropriate necessarily. If you do, then we can skip this. But I would think that there is a conversation to be had about what this may mean for his boxing future and his future just recovering from this mentally as a human being, right?
That you
And
make a
what
very good point. You mentioned it at the beginning, Rahim, and it's a really important point. And I hadn't really even gone into verbalizing it yet. And the way the PTSD that he may feel from this, the not to mention, obviously, it doesn't look as though he's got any serious injuries at the moment. But who knows? That will transpire as the days go on. Whether he has any vascular injuries or not. It will be, personal trainer and exercise rehab coach, these two guys, obviously to him. But like you say, if he's taking them, his family are from Ogun State, Anthony's. If he's got these guys with him as part of his team, they're close aides, close friends. He's going to have lost two very close friends, two members of his team who are part of his mental, psychological, and spiritual scaffolding. He will have to recover from this in all those ways, as well as physically, to go again, especially as it looked like he was going to be fighting late in February, potentially in Riyadh, against names such as Rico Verhoeven, who had been mentioned, the great Dutch kickboxer. That was one of the people mentioned. It may not have been him, but I think it will take longer for Anthony Joshua to get back in the ring now. The other side of it, Rahim, is that he may feel that he wants to go in there to do something for their families, to make their names resonant, to fight in memory of his friends and his aides. And only he will know right now. And we haven't had a statement from him yet, have we? So I expect that will come in the next few days. And you just wonder whether he doesn't need to fight anymore. He doesn't have to earn money anymore. He's incredibly wealthy, generationally wealthy. He may even decide that's it. This is a sign. That's it. But he may decide it's the opposite. There's so many. I mean, this is conjecture from me now, but it will be very interesting to see what he says and how he moves from here.
what's important to me is that we, as a collective in the media, but maybe even more importantly than we who pundit class for a living and always have an opinion about everything, those who are not at this as a profession and do consume the fights and our reports and the social media of it all, look at this as a human moment. There is something to be said about the weekend on which Joshua and Jake Paul had that fight. I like to call it the Manosphere Monday after the wash, after everything that's happened. Obviously, Jake Paul and Andrew Tate, and the way that I believe social media promotes and really, in a way, misguides young men into believing that they need this kind of callous, unemotional resolve, that there is no humanity to some extent, man to man, or emotion can't be expressed without being feminine. All of those things I am worried will come to bear in the coming weeks. And as this tragedy gets a little bit further in the rear view and people start to be more irresponsible with their speculation and more interested in grabbing spotlight for themselves, that we forget that this man has the not only right, but I would say mental health responsibility to himself to work through whatever the process needs to be for him. Joshua doesn't need to fight again. You asked me 48 hours ago. I 100% want him to fight again. We all want the same fight. I'm happy to wait 3 years, if ever, for that fight, if it means that it is how long it takes for Joshua to recover in his mental health and be prepared to go into the ring, not out of, I can't feel anything, I don't have any emotion, I can just fight through this. Or, no, because you're healthy and you are able to process this loss and then come again in your whole self and put forward your best athletic abilities for the consumption of the audience. We've seen Tyson Fury take his time, sometimes healthily, sometimes unhealthily, for his mental health. He's talked about it to an extent, a great extent, I hope. And I think that Tyson is this kind of classy individual when push comes to shove, that he'll respect that as well. That this won't be ever become a needling situation, or
Yeah.
that he'll hear from his most likely opponent how important it is for him to maintain and take care of his mental health. That is something that we really, in this moment, I think, as an audience and as a profession of journalism, need to be putting forward. Whatever Joshua needs, however much time it takes, whatever his process is, allow him that.
I'm going to finish on this because I've got to go, and you make a brilliant point. I'm going to use one word: empathy. And empathy is a very important quality in what we do. We're paid to give opinions, but when life is affected, deeply affected, we have to have empathy. And it's one of the great qualities. My mentors in the sport, I remember a great sports writer for the Telegraph, Michael Calvin, always saying to me that, and the late Colin Hart, who was a great mentor, there is a moment to have empathy for who you're watching and what they do. And I think this is an empathetic moment. He will have it right now for his friends who have departed. And I think it's really important that we have it as well and understand in this very rough the rough seas of social media that, empathy is, as I say, that is the word for me in my sign off, Rahim.
If I may partner that empathy and wildly appropriate and accurate sentiment with gratitude. It's what I felt when I saw you on the screen before we even began this recording session, because I have gratitude for what you've meant to my life and career and our friendships, our rows and our best high five moments alike. My gratitude for what Joshua's meant to the sport and how he brought me to the UK for his fight, and now it is a foundational part of my life and career. I believe the audience really does, and now in Awakening in America, have gratitude for what they know Joshua to be and what they've just experienced in his excellence. Gratitude for all of our friends and family, loved ones, our co-workers alike. In this moment, it is a reminder of how quickly it can be gone and
Yeah.
how unpredictable life is. So, if anything, in addition to that empathy, is to just be grateful in the moment, to turn to the person next to you or the person in your life and give them a ring and let them know you love them, you appreciate them, you're glad to have them in your life, and be able to express that as men in particular. Be able to open up your heart and be honest about that is a really important lesson for this moment. Gareth A. Davies, I am so grateful that you took this time with us. I'm sure we'll be speaking again soon about the many things ahead. But for the moment, thank you greatly for your time. And Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Great to see you on very sad circumstances as well. Happy New Year to you, and thank you. And you've had a great year, and I will see you in 2026.